Earth was living a peaceful existence, unaware of the catastrophic storm approaching from the stars. It was just another day for humanity, until the skies were torn open by the arrival of a massive alien fleet. The first signs came as flickering lights in the sky, mistaken for a meteor shower. But as the lights grew brighter, it became clear that these were no natural occurrences. Alien warships, sleek and terrifying, emerged from the void, cloaked by advanced stealth technology. They descended on Earth like vultures, ready to strike. No one had seen them coming. Within moments, the first blast hit the Earth's defenses, shattering satellites and communication systems. Global alerts went out as the world's military scrambled to respond, but it was too late. The alien invaders, led by King Virax, launched their first attack, a powerful bombardment on major cities. Washington, London, Beijing, New Delhi, all fell within minutes. The cities, once thriving hubs of human civilization, were reduced to rubble. Buildings crumbled under the weight of energy blasts. Fires lit up the night sky. The air was thick with smoke and dust. Humanity was under siege. The alien warships were unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Their design was sleek and angular, radiating an aura of superiority. The alien ships were equipped with weapons of unimaginable power, energy cannons that could obliterate entire blocks with a single shot. Earth's defense systems were helpless against such an overwhelming force. Even the most advanced human weapons were nothing compared to the alien onslaught. Human forces were scattered, confused, and outgunned. In the midst of the chaos, Earth's best minds and military commanders came together in a frantic effort to devise a plan. Captain Marcus Hale, a battle-hardened leader known for his strategic genius, stood at the helm of humanity's most advanced warship. His eyes, focused and determined, reflected the gravity of the situation. Commander Elena Carter, his right hand, and a brilliant scientist, worked tirelessly alongside him, analyzing data and looking for any possible weakness in the alien assault. While the invasion raged on, a small group of humans, known only as the Cloak Unit, managed to intercept the alien communications. This was Earth's first breakthrough in the conflict. Using the planet's newly developed quantum cloaking technology, the humans had managed to stay hidden long enough to gather vital information about the enemy's plans. The transmission they intercepted revealed a chilling truth. The aliens weren't just invading Earth. They were here to wipe humanity from existence, seeing Earth as nothing more than a nuisance standing in the way of their empire's expansion. The revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's command centers. The cloaked squad had discovered that the aliens, led by the ruthless King Virax, planned to destroy Earth's defenses completely before launching a full-scale invasion of the entire solar system. The alien empire was vast, its technology far superior to humanity's, and Earth's survival depended on finding a way to fight back. The world's governments went into full crisis mode, scrambling to mobilize what little resistance they could muster. The civilian population was forced into underground bunkers, while the military prepared for all-out war. At the same time, Marcus and Elena worked on formulating a counterattack strategy. The odds were against them. Earth's entire fleet had been decimated, major cities had been obliterated, and Earth's technology was hopelessly outclassed by the alien forces. Humanity was on the brink of annihilation. A broadcast came through the emergency channels. King Virax, the alien emperor, spoke directly to humanity. His voice was cold, filled with the arrogance of one who had never faced any real opposition. "You are weak. You are nothing," he declared. "We, the mighty Zorith Empire, have come to claim what is ours. Your planet will fall, and your people will be erased from history. Resistance is futile." The words echoed across the globe. The message was a death sentence. Virax's alien forces were everywhere, bombarding cities, controlling space, and establishing dominance. People across the world were terrified, not knowing how to fight back against such an advanced enemy. As the broadcasts continued, Earth's government held an emergency meeting. The leaders, most of them shocked and broken, debated the survival of the human race. Some argued that Earth had no hope against such powerful invaders, while others believed that humanity could find a way to survive. But there was a single question that dominated the debate. Could humans possibly fight back against an enemy that was so technologically advanced, so far ahead of them? The answer was unclear, but one thing was certain. Humanity's survival now depended on a miracle. In the chaos of the meeting, Marcus and Elena worked feverishly to come up with a plan. Earth's best minds had always been able to innovate under pressure. The fact that they had developed quantum cloaking and other advanced technologies in secret gave them a slight edge. An edge they could use to even the odds, or so they hoped. The tension in Earth's command center was palpable. Every moment was precious, and every decision carried immense consequences. The fate of the world rested in their hands. Captain Hale looked at the digital map of Earth's major cities, now marked with red zones indicating the aliens' current path of destruction. A map that was quickly becoming an obituary of human civilization. But Captain Hale wasn't ready to give up. His eyes were sharp as he turned to Elena. "We don't have much time. We need to launch a counteroffensive. We can't let them crush our morale. We have to hit them back with everything we've got." Elena nodded, though doubt lingered in her expression. "But what can we do? We're outgunned, outmatched. We fight. We survive." Marcus interrupted, his voice firm. "If we don't try, we're already dead." The room fell silent as the weight of his words hung in the air. The alien attack had proven to be nearly unstoppable, but humanity had something the aliens didn't: heart. They had determination, ingenuity, and a will to survive that no alien empire could understand. Outside, the world was in chaos. People were fleeing, running for shelter, trying to escape the horror that had descended from the skies. The cities that had once been symbols of human achievement were now nothing more than burning ruins. And yet, in the midst of all this devastation, there was a flicker of hope. Humanity had survived worse, and as long as they were alive, they would keep fighting. The time for fear was over. The time for survival was now. Marcus, Elena, and their team would lead humanity's last stand. As they prepared for the mission ahead, they knew the odds were impossible. But with the aliens' arrogance and their belief that humanity was weak, they had made one fatal mistake. They underestimated Earth. With the world on the brink of collapse, the real fight was just beginning. The questions hung in the air. Could humanity, with all its flaws and weaknesses, actually defeat an empire as powerful as the Zorith? Could Earth stand a chance against the might of King Virax's forces? The fate of humanity rested on one thing: the courage to fight back. And in this moment, Earth had more courage than ever before. The screen fades to black as the sound of distant explosions echoes through the night. The question lingers in the air: can humanity survive this impossible war? The first strike from humanity came in the form of a high-tech weapon that had been in development for years, hidden away from the eyes of the alien invaders. It was Earth's last hope: the quantum cloaking defense system. The moment it was activated, a vast network of cloaked stealth drones and satellites silently emerged from their hidden launch sites. These drones were unlike anything the aliens had encountered before. They were small, swift, and equipped with advanced weaponry capable of taking down even the mightiest of alien warships. The air was thick with tension as the drones deployed into Earth's orbit. Marcus Hale, the human commander leading the operation, stood beside Elena Carter, his trusted advisor, as they watched the first wave of drones swoop into action. Each one of them was cloaked, invisible to the enemy, and armed with powerful weapons that could pierce the alien armor like a hot knife through butter. The drones swarmed toward the alien fleet, firing energy blasts with pinpoint precision. The alien warships, towering over Earth, were suddenly under attack from all directions. Alien warships were being hit, their shields flickering as the drones dodged and weaved through the enemy's defenses. For a brief moment, it seemed like humanity had a fighting chance. But the aliens weren't about to let Earth's desperate move go unpunished. Their retaliation was swift, and they had technology just as advanced as humanity's secret weapon. A massive surge of robotic warriors, each one equipped with state-of-the-art energy weapons, was deployed to the battlefront. These mechanical soldiers were controlled by the Zorith Empire's most powerful AI systems, designed to counter any human resistance. Marcus knew this would be their biggest challenge yet. "Elena, the drones are taking down the warships, but we need to take the fight to the supply ships. That's where their power is coming from. We need to hit them fast." Elena nodded in agreement, her eyes narrowing in concentration. "We're cloaking the whole operation. Our best chance is to get in undetected and destroy the supply ship before the aliens can react." With a signal from Marcus, their team prepared for a daring assault. They boarded their stealth assault craft, designed to blend into the chaos of the battle. The craft was small, fast, and armed with the latest human technology, including cloaking devices and high-powered plasma cannons. As they approached the alien supply ship, the atmosphere inside the craft was tense. Everyone knew what was at stake. If they failed, it would be the end of humanity's last hope. As the assault craft neared the massive alien ship, the crew activated the ship's cloaking system, making them invisible to the enemy sensors. They could see the alien supply ship up ahead, its hull glistening with strange alien markings, but it was surrounded by danger. Hundreds of robotic warriors patrolled the area, all of them under the control of the alien eye. "Stealth mode engaged," Elena said, her fingers flying over the control panel. "We have one shot at this. If they detect us, we're finished." They descended toward the supply ship, passing through a cloud of debris and wreckage left behind by the earlier battle. They landed near the docking bay, and the team quickly exited the craft, moving silently into the ship's interior. The air inside the alien ship smelled of cold metal and strange chemicals, and the atmosphere was oppressive, like a tomb. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a loud mechanical screech. Robotic warriors appeared, their glowing red eyes scanning the area, searching for intruders. The humans quickly ducked behind cover, holding their breath. The robots were armed with energy weapons, and one wrong move could cost them everything. Marcus motioned for the team to move. With practiced precision, they advanced, using their cloaking devices to stay hidden. They had to get to the central core of the ship, where the supply systems were located, and destroy it. But the robots weren't making it easy. Every step was a calculated risk. A loud crash echoed through the corridors as one of the robots spotted them. It fired its energy weapon, narrowly missing Marcus, who ducked behind a nearby wall. The others followed suit, opening fire with their plasma weapons. The air crackled with energy as they fought their way through the ship, engaging in a fierce firefight with the relentless robotic soldiers. Elena used her advanced tech to disable several of the robots, hacking into their systems to confuse and misdirect them. But the robotic warriors were relentless. They were faster, stronger, and more precise than anything humanity had ever faced. The battle was brutal, a constant exchange of gunfire and explosions. But the humans fought with everything they had. They weren't going to give up without a fight. As the team moved deeper into the supply ship, they encountered more robots, each one deadlier than the last. The closer they got to the core, the more intense the firefights became. At one point, a robot cornered Bonner, one of the soldiers on the team. Bonner, a young man who had grown up on Earth's outer colonies, had always been known for his bravery and quick thinking. But even he couldn't outrun the robot's superior speed. As the robot lunged at him, Bonner made a split-second decision. He pushed Marcus out of the way, taking the full force of the robot's attack. His body was sent flying across the room, slamming into the cold metal wall. The robot, now in full control, aimed its energy weapon at Marcus, ready to end his life. But in that moment, Bonner, though gravely injured, managed to grab a grenade from his belt and throw it at the robot. The explosion was deafening. The robot's systems went haywire as it collapsed, sparks flying from its damaged body. Bonner, now lying motionless on the cold floor, had sacrificed himself to save Marcus and the team. "Bonner," Marcus whispered, his voice thick with emotion as he looked down at his fallen comrade. Elena, standing by his side, said nothing. There was nothing to say. Bonner's death was a painful reminder of the price they were all paying in this war. But they couldn't afford to stop. They had to keep going, for Bonner, for Earth, for humanity's future. With heavy hearts, the team pressed on, finally reaching the core of the alien supply ship. The central system was protected by a series of advanced security measures, but Elena's quick thinking and her knowledge of alien technology allowed her to override the defenses. With a final push, they planted a high-powered explosive device, ready to destroy the heart of the alien supply system. As they made their way back to the assault craft, the countdown began. The ship was about to explode, and with it, a major part of the alien supply chain. The humans had struck a decisive blow against the Zorith Empire, but they knew this was just the beginning. There was still so much left to do. The war was far from over, and the stakes were higher than ever. As the assault craft lifted off and flew back toward Earth's defenses, Marcus couldn't help but reflect on Bonner's sacrifice. His death had not been in vain. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and humanity had proven it was not to be underestimated. In the distance, Earth's skies lit up with flashes of light as the war raged on. Humanity's fight for survival was far from over, but with each victory, they were showing the galaxy that they would never give up. The Zorith Empire had made a mistake by underestimating humanity, and now the universe would feel the consequences. With Bonner's sacrifice echoing in their hearts, the human resistance prepared for the next phase of the war. The fight was just beginning, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they were truly made of. King Virax paced restlessly across the cold, metallic floors of the command room aboard his flagship, a colossal warship that had been at the forefront of his empire's invasion of Earth. The walls were lined with glowing screens, each displaying reports of his fleets in disarray. Communication lines filled with alarming news. Ships that had once dominated the skies of distant worlds were now failing against the unexpected resilience of humanity. His advanced warships were being destroyed by Earth's unknown technology, and their once impenetrable defenses were crumbling in the face of humanity's unexpected ingenuity. Virax had expected Earth to be easy to conquer. After all, they were a primitive species by galactic standards. But what he hadn't anticipated was the sheer determination and innovation of the humans. Their cloaking technology had baffled his fleet, allowing them to strike at the heart of his empire. Each attack, while small, had been precise and devastating. Now, it was no longer just a matter of defeating Earth. It was a matter of survival for his empire. His generals were seated around a large round table in the middle of the command room. Their faces were emotionless, each one waiting for their leader to speak. The silence was palpable, as if even the walls themselves were holding their breath. Virax, usually composed and calculating, couldn't hide his frustration any longer. He slammed his fist onto the table, causing the holographic projections of Earth's defenses to flicker in response. "I want a solution," he demanded, his voice sharp and filled with anger. "I will not let a primitive species bring my empire to its knees. I want humanity crushed before they can mount another attack. They've proven themselves resilient, but I will show them the true power of the Zorith Empire." The room was silent as the generals exchanged looks. For the first time, there was doubt in their eyes. They had never seen Virax this desperate. One of the generals, a towering figure named Zorith, finally spoke up, his voice low but steady. "King Virax, we have already deployed our most advanced warships. We've sent wave after wave of robotic soldiers, but the humans adapt faster than we anticipated. Their technology is evolving at an alarming rate. If we continue with the current strategy, we may risk losing more of our forces. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach." Virax glared at the general, his eyes burning with fury. "Reconsider. We will not retreat. We will not show weakness. Earth must be destroyed, and we will use any means necessary to accomplish that." Zorath hesitated but spoke again, his tone more cautious this time. If we continue to press forward without adjusting our strategy, we risk losing the war altogether. I suggest we consider a more targeted approach, destroying their technology at its source, cutting off their ability to fight back. Virax was momentarily silent, his eyes narrowing as he thought about the general's suggestion. Destroying Earth's technology would be no easy task, but it might be the key to winning the war. He turned to his top strategist, a cold and calculating AI named Alara, who had been advising him throughout the invasion. Alara's glowing blue eyes flickered as she spoke. The humans possess a technology that we cannot fully comprehend. Their cloaking system, their drones, their ability to adapt and counter our attacks, it all points to one thing. Earth's technology is far more advanced than we initially believed. If we do not act swiftly, they will be able to build a force capable of overthrowing our empire. We must wipe out their technological capabilities before they can build up their defenses further. Virax nodded, his mind racing. You are right. We cannot allow Earth's technology to evolve any further. I will take action, but I need more than just a strategic advantage. I need to break their spirits. If we can make them doubt their ability to win, we can win the war without further bloodshed. The king turned to his generals, his voice quieter now, almost resigned. Tell me, Zorath, Alara, can we break humanity's will to fight? Zorath's expression was unreadable. Perhaps, but only if we can make them believe that their resistance is hopeless. If they realize that there is no way they can win, they may surrender before they are completely crushed. Virax's gaze softened for a moment. And if they don't surrender? Then we annihilate them. Zorath replied coldly, his voice unwavering. There can be no other option. Virax stood still, his thoughts swirling in turmoil. The prospect of annihilating humanity, once an unthinkable solution, now seemed like the only viable path. Yet something lingered in the back of his mind. Doubt. Could Earth's resistance really be crushed so easily? Was there more to humanity's strength than mere technology? In the silence that followed, Alara spoke again, her voice calm but full of warning. King Virax, I have intercepted a message from Earth. It appears to be from a human leader. The message, it is unlike any we have received before. The room fell silent. Virax's brow furrowed as he turned to the AI. What does it say? Alara paused, her eyes glowing brighter as she processed the transmission. It is a message of desperation, a plea for mercy. The human leader, he begs for forgiveness. Virax's heart skipped a beat. Forgiveness. From the humans. He scoffed at the thought. This is a trick, a desperate attempt to deceive us. But as the message played out in the room, Virax's confident demeanor faltered. The voice, filled with raw emotion, was unlike anything he had expected. Humans, I beg you, please forgive me, the voice pleaded. We never intended to provoke you. We were defending our home. Please, we are not your enemies. We do not wish for this war to continue. For a moment, the room was still. Virax stared at the image on the screen, his mind racing. Was this really a plea for peace, or was it a trap? The voice seemed genuine, filled with the kind of desperation that even an alien king like Virax could understand. Virax's fists clenched as he processed the message. This wasn't just a message from the humans. It was a direct challenge to his authority. It was a sign that humanity was not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for something more. They were fighting for their right to exist, to stand against an empire that had tried to crush them underfoot. His gaze shifted to the generals and Alara. What should we do? He asked quietly. The question hung in the air, full of uncertainty. I believe it is too late for peace, Alara said, her voice devoid of emotion. The humans will not back down. Their will is stronger than we thought. Virax's eyes narrowed. Then there is no turning back. But even as he said the words, a seed of doubt had been planted in his mind. Was this the beginning of the end for his empire? Was humanity truly as powerful as they seemed, or was he simply being outsmarted by a species that refused to give up? The king didn't know the answer, but he knew one thing for sure. The next move would be crucial, and he could only hope that it wouldn't be his last. The war had raged for weeks, leaving Earth's forces battered and scarred. Cities were in ruins, and millions of lives had been lost. But through the chaos and destruction, a glimmer of hope had emerged. The humans, against all odds, had found a weakness in the alien invaders' seemingly invincible war machine. An exposed power core on the alien mothership, a single point that, if destroyed, could cripple the entire fleet. It was a risky mission, one that could cost them everything, but it was the only chance they had left. Marcus Hale, Alina Carter, and their team of elite soldiers were at the forefront of this new hope. Their morale had been shattered by the loss of comrades, yet the discovery of the mothership's vulnerability reignited a spark of determination within them. The alien invasion had seemed unstoppable, their technology far beyond anything Earth had ever seen. But now humanity had a chance to turn the tide. The alien mothership was the key to victory, and Marcus knew that taking it down would not only cripple the alien fleet, but would also send a powerful message across the galaxy. Humanity would not be defeated. With grim resolve, the human forces began to rally around this newfound hope. Across Earth, from the war-torn streets of New York to the shattered remains of London, soldiers and civilians alike heard the call. The alien invaders had made a fatal mistake in underestimating humanity, and now they would pay the price. The resistance wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about taking the fight to the enemy and reclaiming their home. The mission to infiltrate the alien mothership's defense network was going to be one of the most dangerous operations humanity had ever attempted. Marcus, Alina, and their team had trained for this moment, but nothing could truly prepare them for the hell they would face. The alien mothership was protected by the most advanced defenses in the galaxy, including countless eye-controlled soldiers and deadly laser traps designed to obliterate any intruders. As they approached the alien facility, the air was thick with tension. The quiet hum of their cloaked stealth drones was the only sound that filled the cockpit of their transport ship. The plan was simple, yet incredibly risky. They would infiltrate the heart of the alien mothership, disable its defenses, and plant explosives near the exposed power core. The mission could be over in minutes if they failed, and the consequences of failure were unthinkable. "Ready for this, Alina?" Marcus asked, his voice steady, but filled with an edge of anticipation. He looked at his longtime partner, who had become not just a colleague, but someone he had come to trust with his life. Alina gave him a nod, her expression calm, but her eyes betrayed the tension she felt. "We don't have a choice, Marcus. This is it. If we don't succeed, humanity is finished." The team suited up in their advanced combat gear, which allowed them to fight and survive in the hostile environment of the alien mothership. As they descended toward the facility, their cloaked drones skimmed the surface, avoiding the alien defenses that could detect any non-authorized vessel. The journey was perilous, but the human technology had come a long way since the early days of the invasion. When they finally landed on the outskirts of the mothership's main control center, they quickly set out on foot. The air was cold, and the metallic walls of the alien facility seemed to pulse with a menacing energy. The team moved quickly and quietly, their training kicking in as they navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the mothership. It wasn't long before they encountered the first wave of ag-controlled soldiers, emotionless machines with advanced weaponry. The battle that ensued was brutal. The AI soldiers were relentless, firing energy blasts and charging at the humans with inhuman precision. Marcus and Alina led the charge, their advanced weapons cutting through the machines with deadly efficiency. But the AI soldiers kept coming, seemingly endless in their numbers. "Keep moving," Alina shouted, her voice sharp as she gunned down a robotic soldier that had come too close. "We don't have time to waste." The team pushed forward, weaving through the facility's halls, avoiding laser traps and fighting off more waves of AI soldiers. The tension was palpable as they reached the central control room, the heart of the mothership where the power core was located. The air was thick with anticipation as they planted explosives around the exposed core, knowing that one wrong move could set off a chain reaction that would destroy everything. But just as they were about to complete their mission, disaster struck. A massive explosion rocked the facility, sending shockwaves through the walls. The explosion was so powerful that it knocked several of the soldiers off their feet, sending them tumbling across the cold, metallic floor. The team scrambled to regain their footing, but it was clear that something had gone terribly wrong. Bonner, one of the team's most experienced soldiers, had been near the epicenter of the blast. His body was now lying motionless on the floor, his life snuffed out in an instant. The loss was a gut-wrenching blow to the team, and for a moment, everything seemed to freeze. Bonner had been more than just a soldier. He had been a brother in arms, a friend who had fought beside them through countless battles. His death hit hard, but it also ignited a fire within the team. Marcus felt his heart drop as he saw Bonner's lifeless body. He had seen death before, but this was different. Bonner wasn't just another casualty. He was part of the team, part of their family. The pain of losing him was almost unbearable, but Marcus knew that they couldn't afford to stop now. The mission wasn't over. Bonner's sacrifice had to mean something. "Elena," Marcus said, his voice hoarse with emotion, "we finish this." For Bonner. Elena nodded, her eyes filled with determination. For Bonner. The remaining soldiers, though shaken by the loss, were not about to let Bonner's death be in vain. They redoubled their efforts, planting the explosives and preparing to launch the final attack. The mothership was now on the brink of destruction, and they had one shot to finish the job. As the team made their way to the final control panel, the alien defenses began to intensify. Waves of robotic soldiers swarmed around them, their weapons crackling with deadly energy. But humanity's resolve was unshakable. They fought through the oncoming forces, using their superior technology and tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. Finally, with a final push, the team reached the control panel. Marcus pressed the button that would set off the explosion, and in an instant, the mothership was rocked by a massive shockwave. The facility's walls crumbled, and the exposed power core ignited, sending a blinding light across the sky. The explosion was a sight to behold, a brilliant flash of light that illuminated the heavens. It was the beginning of the end for the alien invaders. As the team made their way back to the extraction point, they knew that this was just the beginning of a long and bloody war. But they also knew that they had turned the tables. The alien invaders had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The fight for Earth was far from over, but humanity had found its strength, and with each battle, they would continue to fight for their home, for their future, and for the memory of those they had lost. The final assault had arrived. After months of fighting and countless sacrifices, humanity was on the edge of victory. The alien invaders, led by King Virax, had pushed Earth to its limits. Major cities had fallen, and the world had been plunged into chaos. Yet, humanity had survived. Despite being outgunned and outmanned, Earth's best warriors, led by Marcus Hale and Elena Carter, had rallied behind a single goal: to destroy the alien mothership and end the war. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The alien mothership, now a symbol of the invaders' overwhelming power, hovered above Earth's shattered cities, its weapons poised to deliver the final blow. The human forces had one last chance to win, one final strike that could either bring about their survival or end in complete annihilation. Marcus, Elena, and their remaining team of elite soldiers had infiltrated the heart of the alien mothership. The facility was crawling with enemy forces, robots, drones, and alien soldiers who fought with relentless precision. The air was thick with tension as they navigated the metallic corridors, their every step shadowed by the threat of death. But they were not alone. The human resistance had provided them with state-of-the-art technology, cloaking devices, advanced weapons, and combat armor that could withstand even the most lethal energy blasts. Yet no amount of technology could shield them from the sheer power of the enemy. The team had a single mission: to plant explosives in the mothership's core and destroy it from the inside. The plan was simple, but the risk was enormous. If they failed, humanity would lose everything. If they succeeded, they would wipe out the heart of the alien empire and deliver a decisive blow to the invaders. As they made their way deeper into the mothership, the battle intensified. Robots, drones, and alien soldiers swarmed the halls, their weapons crackling with deadly energy. The team fought fiercely, using their advanced tactics and technology to hold their ground. But the aliens were everywhere, their forces seemingly endless, and every corner they turned brought them face to face with a new threat. The sound of laser blasts and explosions echoed through the facility as Marcus and his team fought their way to the core. Each step forward felt like a victory, but the enemy's resistance was growing stronger with every passing second. The aliens had underestimated humanity once, but now they were learning the hard way that the human spirit could not be broken. Marcus and Alina moved in sync, their bond forged through countless battles. They had been through hell together, and now, as they faced the final battle, their resolve was unwavering. Alina was more than just a teammate. She was his closest ally, his equal in every sense. As they moved through the corridors, their eyes locked, understanding passing between them without words. They were in this together, and they would see it through, no matter the cost. But the cost was high. As they approached the core room, the alien forces became even more desperate. The walls trembled as the mothership's weapons fired, shaking the entire structure. The team was nearing the heart of the enemy's stronghold, but they could feel the walls closing in on them. Time was running out. Almost there, Marcus said, his voice tight with determination. Just a little farther. Alina nodded, but her face betrayed the strain. She had been injured during their earlier battles, her arm bleeding, but she refused to let it slow her down. She was determined to see this mission through to the end. After all, the fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. But just as they reached the core room, disaster struck. A massive explosion rocked the facility, sending shockwaves through the ship. The blast knocked Alina off her feet, sending her crashing to the ground. Her body lay motionless for a brief moment before she struggled to get up, her face pale and covered in sweat. "Get up, Alina," Marcus shouted, panic in his voice. "We don't have time." Alina's breath came in short gasps as she tried to push herself up, but her injuries were too severe. She collapsed back to the ground, her body too weak to move. "Marcus," Alina whispered, her voice barely audible. "You have to finish this, for humanity." Tears welled in Marcus's eyes as he looked at her, his heart heavy with the weight of their mission and the pain of seeing his closest friend on the brink of death. But there was no time for mourning. The enemy was closing in, and the fate of Earth depended on the explosives being planted. "I'll finish this, Alina," Marcus said, his voice breaking with emotion. "I promise." With a fierce resolve, Marcus turned and made his way to the core. He could hear the sounds of the alien forces closing in behind him, their footsteps heavy and fast. He was running out of time, but he couldn't let Alina's sacrifice be in vain. He had to finish what they had started. As he reached the core, Marcus planted the explosives, his hand steady despite the chaos around him. The countdown began, and the seconds seemed to stretch on forever. The alien forces were closing in, their weapons charging for one final assault. But Marcus didn't flinch. He had made a promise to Alina, and he would not break it. The final battle was upon them. The explosion that followed would send shockwaves across the galaxy. The fate of Earth and of humanity hung in the balance. With the explosives planted and the countdown ticking away, Marcus stood firm, his mind racing with thoughts of Alina, of the sacrifices they had made, and of the future they had fought for. He could hear the alien soldiers closing in, their weapons aimed directly at him. But he didn't move. He couldn't move. He had to make sure the bomb went off, that the mothership was destroyed. The final moments were a blur. The countdown reached its last few seconds, and Marcus knew that he was about to make the ultimate sacrifice. He had led his team through hell, and now it was his turn to ensure the mission's success. With a final glance at the explosives, Marcus whispered, "We fight for our world, for humanity." And with that, he detonated the bomb. The explosion that followed was deafening. A brilliant flash of light erupted from the core, sending shockwaves through the mothership. The ship trembled, its massive structure groaning as it collapsed in on itself. The blast was so powerful that it sent ripples through space itself, the force of it reaching out across the galaxy. The mothership was gone. The heart of the alien empire had been destroyed, and with it, the invaders' hopes of conquering Earth. The battle had been won, but at a great cost. Humanity had survived, but the price had been steep. Alina, Bonner, and so many others had given their lives to see this day. Their sacrifice would never be forgotten. As Marcus's body was thrown backward by the force of the explosion, he knew that the war was far from over. The aliens had been defeated, but the scars of the battle would remain forever. The world had been changed, and humanity would have to rebuild from the ashes. But for now, as the dust settled in, the remnants of the mothership drifted away in space. Humanity had won. Against all odds, against a seemingly unbeatable enemy, they had fought back. And in the end, it was their strength, their courage, and their determination that had prevailed. The final assault was over. The battle for Earth had been won, and humanity, scared but victorious, had proven that they would never give up. The war was finally over. The alien mothership, the symbol of the invading empire's dominance, was reduced to rubble. The galaxy had watched in awe as humanity, against all odds, had struck back with fierce determination and ingenuity. The aliens, led by King Virax, had underestimated Earth's resolve, and now, as the dust settled, humanity stood victorious. But this victory came at a great cost. Hundreds of thousands of human soldiers had given their lives to secure this moment. Among them were the brave men and women who had fought side by side with Marcus and Alina. Their sacrifice weighed heavily on the survivors, and as the final battle came to an end, they could not help but reflect on the lives lost along the way. For Marcus, the victory felt hollow. The exhilaration of winning was overshadowed by the painful memories of those who would never return. Alina, too, felt the weight of their fallen comrades. She had lost friends, soldiers who had fought alongside her, and the memories of their bravery and sacrifices were etched in her heart. Virax, the alien king who had led the invasion, was now a prisoner. His once proud fleet was in ruins, his empire shattered. The human resistance had broken the alien forces, and now Virax was forced to face the consequences of his actions. As he sat in his cell, his hands bound, the reality of his defeat began to set in. He had come to Earth believing that the humans were weak, that they were nothing more than an insignificant species. But now, in the quiet of his prison, he was forced to acknowledge their strength. "I beg you," Virax pleaded, his voice trembling with a rare sense of humility. "Please forgive me. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Your resilience, your strength, it's something we never anticipated." His words hung in the air, the weight of his admission clear. Virax, once a powerful ruler, now found himself humbled by the very species he had sought to destroy. He had underestimated humanity's capacity for survival, and now he was forced to confront the reality that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. Humanity had proven themselves far more formidable than any alien race could have imagined. As Marcus and Alina stood before the memorial for the fallen soldiers, the gravity of the moment hit them hard. The memorial was a solemn tribute to the brave men and women who had given their lives in defense of their world. Each name etched into the stone was a reminder of the price of victory. The empty spaces where the fallen soldiers should have stood were a painful reminder that they were no longer there to share in the triumph. Marcus placed a hand on the memorial, his eyes scanning the names. "We did it," he whispered, though his voice lacked the joy that one might expect after such a victory. but at what cost? Elena stood beside him, her gaze distant as she reflected on the journey they had been through. The cost was high, she said softly, but it was worth it. They didn't die in vain. The two of them stood in silence, lost in their thoughts. They had fought together through every battle. And now, in the aftermath, they found themselves uncertain of what came next. The war for Earth had ended, but the journey of humanity was far from over. As they stood there, the weight of their shared experiences was almost too much to bear. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's tenacity and courage, and it would never forget the lesson learned in the wake of the invasion. Earth was no longer a world to be overlooked, no longer a vulnerable target. Humanity had proven their resilience, their will to fight, and their ability to rise against overwhelming odds. The galaxy had been forced to recognize that humans were not to be underestimated. But the victory, as sweet as it was, had a bittersweet quality to it. The war was over, but the scars it left behind would remain. Cities were in ruins, families torn apart, and the emotional toll on the survivors was immense. Marcus and Elena, though victorious, knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. Rebuilding would take time, and healing the emotional wounds left by the war would take even longer. As they turned to leave the memorial, Marcus's communicator buzzed to life. A familiar voice came through, breaking the silence. "Marcus, Elena, you need to see this. We've just detected something strange." Without hesitation, Marcus and Elena made their way to the command center. The atmosphere in the room was tense, the staff working frantically to decipher the new data. On the screen, a deep space signal was being tracked, a signal coming from beyond the known galaxy. "What is it?" Elena asked, her voice filled with concern. "We're not sure," the technician replied, "but it's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's a transmission, and it's coming from deep space. It's strong, and it's not just one ship. It's a whole fleet." Marcus's heart skipped a beat. A new fleet, but humanity had just defeated the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Who could be out there, sending a signal? What could this mean for their future? Elena's eyes narrowed as she looked at the readout. "This doesn't make sense," she said. "We've wiped out their fleet. There shouldn't be anyone left." But the signal was undeniable. It was coming from somewhere far beyond the reaches of their known world, from a region of space where humanity had never ventured. A new threat, one they couldn't yet comprehend, loomed on the horizon. "Is it an enemy?" Marcus asked, his voice steady, though there was an edge of concern beneath it. The technician hesitated before responding. "We don't know yet, but the signal is growing stronger, and it's not from any civilization we've encountered before." Marcus and Elena exchanged a look, their minds racing. The war against Virax's empire had been brutal, but they had survived. Now they were faced with the unknown. A new enemy, or perhaps something even worse, waiting in the depths of space. "We need to be ready," Marcus said, his voice firm. "We've already shown that we can fight, that we can win. Whatever's out there, we'll face it head on." Elena nodded. "We'll be ready." The moment lingered in the air, heavy with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The victory they had fought so hard for felt incomplete. As humanity began to rebuild, a new chapter was unfolding, one that promised more challenges, more battles, and perhaps even greater dangers. As Marcus and Elena stood together, looking out at the stars, Marcus said with quiet determination, "The battle may be over, but the war for our future has just begun."